Hello there, everybody. How the devil are we all? I am alive, but at what fucking cost? Well, probably more, I think, than it would take to subscribe to this channel. I reckon, or maybe not. I don't know. How are we all? Hopefully we're well. Oh, hang on, what the fuck? Hang on. Was this coming through on Twitch? Did you hear me? What the fuck? Is this going on Twitch? Hello? Hello? What the fuck? Is this going on Twitch? Hello? There we go. Okay, it is now going on Twitch. What the fuck did it do that for? Fucking absolute piece of stinky poo. Fuck off. Anyway, for those who are still here, hello. I don't know if you heard any of that intro. Not that it matters, because it was fucking pablum. Just drivel. Who cares? But, you know. Is it going on Twitch? That's an absolute... There we go. So it is going on Twitch as well. Brilliant. Fuck me sideways. You know what? You should really give me money for this. You should. You should give me money for my professionalism, for my genius at technical proficiency. Yeah, absolutely. And you can give me money because obviously I deserve it on both of the platforms in the various ways that I'll outline at some point. I don't fucking know. Anyway, we are with No Justice MTG in just a moment. To be looking at some Brick Bongarino shizzle. And I'm sure American and world affairs will crop up as they tend to. As is the want of the world interfering with my existence. Sex appeal, true, that is also a thing I possess. Very much so, in abundance. Yeah. Hello there, Helena, how are you?
I'm not doing too bad, Kev. How you doing?
I am extremely well. I spent the day flicking between snooker and darts. So, I mean, basically, my day was the absolute bollocks.
Did you enjoy Australia getting humiliated by India?
That it was also nice, although that was a rather less friendly time. But yes, that was rather good.
It was good. I definitely enjoy it.
I do like a ridiculously lopsided game. Where
especially by the end of
day two, well, exactly, yeah. By the end of day two, India's second innings had scored more runs for the loss of no wickets than the first 20 wickets of the match had produced.
Yeah,
brilliant. Apparently, it turned from an absolute fucking nightmare of a pitch to the flattest deck in the world in an hour.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Quite apparently so.
Brilliant. Well done. Yes. How is the football, Kev? Shit. Football is gay and not in a good way.
No.
Fact.
Quite so.
So is Dennis Prager dead yet? He's not dead yet. He's very much edging us on this. But you know what? The release will be even better when it happens. Just go with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes. So what have you been up to? What's happened in your world?
I just played some Magic today. Just hanging out with some mates. And we went to Nando's because we're basic bitches.
That's fair enough. No, that's, you know.
I tell you what they do have, though. I tell you what they do have at Nando's.
Chicken?
Now.
They have mostly chicken.
They do. They have a new Fanta-flavoured marinade. Like a Fanta-flavoured peri-peri marinade for the chicken.
Every day we drift further from the light of Jesus.
And you know what? I really like it.
I can only repeat my point. There's been a lot of straying from righteousness recently. And this, I think, sums it up perfectly.
I mean, if anyone was going to like a weird flavour, like Fanta orange flavoured peri-peri marinade, it was going to be me, wasn't it?
Well, yes, I suppose so. Yeah, I can't deny that. I wasn't shocked by your evil.
Lord Freeters donated
I was
$3.
evil nonetheless.
I'm not going to hold my breath
Anyway.
for Prager kicking the bucket, but that would be autoerotic asphyxiation.
You know, who else has been straying from the light of righteousness? The Liberal Democrat TikTok account.
Oh my god, I know, right?
It's been absolutely... I mean, I don't even know how to describe it. It goes beyond cringe into like a new level of something.
And I'm just like, there are people in the comments saying, oh, now I'll vote for the Liberal Democrats. And I'm just like, do you not know what pandering is? Can you not sense you're being pandered to? Do you not have that like sixth sense that the rest of us have?
Apparently not. I mean, anyone who would vote Lib Dem clearly doesn't have much sense.
True.
I'm looking
Very
at year
true.
2015, Helena. Or 2010?
Apart from me. 2010,
Well,
2010.
2010, apologies.
Please.
Anyway, I mean, I do have to show people these. I mean, I'll just say this. These are so cringe, I shat out several internal organs. So, like, just, you know, prepare yourself for that. A corset, perhaps.
Suspect only got a bronze at the general election.
Hey, come on.
Suspect has no balance and falls off pedal boards easily.
What are you talking about?
Suspect says he's the life and soul of the party, but the party only has 72 seats.
I'm going up.
Suspect sings ABBA songs. Badly.
Take a chance on me.
Oh,
Suspect
fuck
was once
off!
Energy secretary.
Oh my god, this is incredibly cringe.
Take a chance on me. That's, I mean, honestly, in terms of impact, not so much, but in terms of cringe, that's up there with Pokemon Go to the polls.
It really is. It really
Take a
is.
chance on me. I'd take an anvil on you, you cunt. Shut up. In Minecraft, of course.
but he's still trying to generate some buzz.
Oh, that's not fair.
Suspect only got a bronze at the gym.
Fucking cunt.
It's
Right.
just, again, like, I just don't know how anyone can look at these and not just immediately just shake their head and go, "What the hell are you doing?" Again, there are people there who are thinking, "Oh, isn't this a funny joke that the politicians are doing the treating the voters like idiots on TikTok?" And I'm like, how about you realise you're being pandered to?
You would hope so, but I mean, either that or they really are the Riz Dems.
Oh my god!
Just gird
Oh.
your loins, chat.
Hi guys, it's Ed Davey, leader of the Riz Dems. I thought
Yeah.
I'd join the TikTok hype to slay just in time for Christmas. It's giving main character energy. In the meantime, I'm just going to keep mewing to my favourite song.
You know me as the Rizzler. I'm the Panther dressed in black. Once I give your girl the Riz face, there's no chance she's coming back.
Hi guys, it's
I just end me, end me.
I mean, it makes me want to slay. It does actually make me want to go on a rampage. The Riz Dems. Do you think he understood any of that? Like,
And it's
at
just,
all?
yeah. And what's funny is you know that it's not like people who are Zoomers in
No.
their like
No.
outreach. They've got millennials to try and create these things that they think Zoomers would find funny.
Yeah, and it's been signed off by like Gen Z, or not Gen Z, it's Gen X people who actually
Yeah.
run the party. And I just, like...
It's just ever since the Phasma Payman moment where she did the speech where she said a bunch of Zoomer slang about the social media bans in Australia, which she's allowed to do because she's like 25 or something. Like,
Yeah.
she's actually part of that generation. She gets away with saying it because it sounds like it actually sounds genuine and sincere coming from her rather than pandering. Because again, she's literally an actual Zoomer. She's not somebody he's in his 50s at Davey,
Yeah.
being just clearly
look at
being
the-
fed lines by other people.
look at the
It's oh god, it's so unserious.
Comments. Whoever got him to say Riz Dems deserves a pay rise? No, they deserve to go to The Hague. What are you talking about?
Absolutely. Let's put the cue back for Netanyahu and for Yoav Gallant, right?
Yeah.
They can wait. The true war crime is the script writer for the Liberal Democrat TikTok account.
That's it. I'm joining the Lib Dems. Honestly, you need to be on a list.
You do.
Ed Davey, the diva. I will vote for you in 2029. W Riz from Ed. Slay, bro. All of these people need to be watched by the authorities.
Trebuchet. Immediate trebuchet.
That is unacceptable. That is unacceptable. And then he's doing this thing where he's challenging the Prime Minister. And not in like, oh, he's challenging him to, reduce taxes on the, blah, blah, blah. No, to play FIFA.
Bring the boom song, bring the boom and no fear. Bring the boom was the song of the summer this year.
Put him on the boom meter, we're gonna rate it. Put the fries in the bag now, already ate it.
Boom and boom in the restaurants, making some noise. Taking the field with. Bring the boom song, bring the boom.
What are you doing, you cunt? What are you fucking doing? And that was part 1. There's a part 2.
Who said one hit wonder it? Bring the boom. We're back bringing it strong, so turn up the volume.
Gotta bring the boom song, bring the boom and no fear. Bring the boom was the.
So yeah, this is politics.
It's frustrating, right? Because I have so many good ideas of like how we could use the Green Party messaging on TikTok, but apparently you just have to do dumb pandering bullshit with some things that you read on Urban Dictionary, and people will just go in the comments. Oh, I'm joining the Liberal Democrats. Oh, I'm going to vote for you in 2020.
Oh, well, they have to be.
Needs to have a lobotomy.
They have to be like Liberal Democrat employees, don't they? They surely suck accounts. They have to be. There's no human being who would see any of this and actually say, "Oh, Skibbity Rizzler, Ed Davey, bro, Mewface, fuck off." No, none of that's real. Surely. I refuse to believe I live in a world where people like that actually exist.
Yeah, they can't do. No. I'm just gonna pretend that they don't exist.
So what are your ideas for the Green Party's thingamawig?
We'll actually talk about, I don't know, like policy. So again, just take like reactions from other
That's
politicians.
not very
saying
Riz
things.
W.
I mean, clearly that's what we need to do, is to get Carla Denya, fucking, I don't know, get her like put her Subway Surfers at the bottom, kinetic sand up the top, and get her just repeating popular like colloquial phrases.
Yeah, renewable energy is skibbity Riz. Yeah, fucking hell. Taxing bankers is WGAT.
Just...
Brilliant. Thanks. So this is policy. Now, in a way, this is harmless. The cringe we're about to see on Laura Koonsberg is dangerous, because that sets agendas, whereas this is just Ed Davey acting like a tit.
I mean, to be fair to Ed Davey, I guess not even to be fair to him, but to be fair to the political tactic. I mean, people may be saying in the comments, "Oh, I'm going to vote for you," but he spent the entire election doing dumb shit for clicks. Literally, he spent the entire election doing dumb shit for clicks and trying to get noticed by, again, literally falling off of paddleboards. And the Liberal Democrats got a smaller percentage of the vote that they got last time, just concentrated in enough seats to increase their overall seat total.
Yeah.
So it doesn't actually do anything. People don't actually go out and vote Liberal Democrats because he fell off a paddleboard.
Yeah. Hello there, Mixed Vivian Wolf. Everyone go and follow Mixed Vivian Wolf immediately. Otherwise, I will end you in Minecraft. Okie doke. Shall we move on to a bit of Al Kai?
Yeah, with the absolute cursed panel today.
Yes. And that's after having fucking what you call it? Fuck's sake, I've forgotten his name now. Anyway, last week.
Side Politics Sunday with Laura Koonsberg.
Mandelson. What can I
A
remember his name?
momentous moment. If you are terminally ill, should you have the right to get help to end your life? This week,
No, actually,
Parliament
I've
will
decided.
decide.
I've decided there are too many people who aren't terminally ill who need help to end their life for me to allow that to happen to people who are terminally ill. Get back of the queue. There's plenty of people ahead of you.
I was about to say, having just watched Ed Davey say he's gonna mew to his favourite song. Yeah, I feel like, why is the terminally ill? Why are they at the front of the queue for this?
Exactly.
Like that's going to happen to them naturally soon enough anyway. I might have another 40 years. I don't need this.
And as I said before, if Jeremy Clarkson really wants to avoid his inheritance tax, like...
Do I kill himself? What?
Yeah, before the rules change in
Oh, okay.
2025.
Fuck. Okay. Yeah. I mean, technically that would avoid it. Yeah. We are obviously not endorsing that line of action because that would be desperately terms of service.
No, exactly. I'm suggesting that is theoretically something that he could do if he wanted to avoid inheritance tax.
Yes.
And what's wrong with British workers? Why are record numbers of people off sick?
Because the NHS is fucked.
Hang on. Did she? Hang on. Let me just. Did she have the job centre thing up while she was talking about that? Hang on.
A momentous moment. If you are terminally ill, should you have the right to get help?
I've just noticed. Why the fuck is the job centre sign there? What?
They're gonna have suicide booths in the job centre.
I mean, unless that's just a really poor choice of imagery, that is a very dark association you're drawing. What the fuck?
I mean, exactly. They're going to have suicide booths in the job centre, and it's Liz Kendall's new plan for the workless, the work shy, right? Is that the first benefit sanction is you get rid of your benefits. The third one is that you get put on a list, and then once you have you're sick, when you have 6 months of benefit sanctions, not finding a job, just get them.
Yeah. Absolutely fucking unbelievable dog shit. We'll get onto that, I'm sure, with Liz Kendall. But, how are they doing change exactly? How are they not doing just continuity austerity?
Yeah, the things that but they're changing by being even harder on benefits than the Tories. Like they're gonna do more social murder. We're changing because they talk the talk, but did they walk the walk? No. Did they actually go out there and just like hack poor people with hammers until they're going out and get a job, pissing in bottles for Amazon, right? We're the true conservatives, because that's what they said. They said they were the true conservatives.
And they really, really fucking are. Thank you, Lord Freetus, for gifting a sub to Zakap. By the way, everyone go and follow Zakap. But also, give me money. And give No Justice money. In the ways that you always can.
To end your life. This week, Parliament will decide. And what's wrong with British workers? Why are record numbers of people off sick? And as danger rises in Ukraine, France tells us there are no red lines.
Each time the Russian army progresses by 1 square kilometer, the threat...
Literally, Morinaka are absolutely right. It's the Mitchell and Webb sketch where they're just like, have you tried raise VAT and kill all the poor?
Literally, yeah. Yeah. The UK is shit, Cathy, you're quite right.
Are closer to Europe.
And morning, and apologies for a technical difficulty there as we were coming on air, but here in this...
What? What the technical difficulty of you, suggesting that the unemployed should be euthanized?
I mean, yeah, having the wrong graphic up, yeah.
Yeah, that's a bit rough. And totally not a thing you actually want to happen, I'm sure.
Get some help.
Studio, we're pleased to be joined by Liz Kendall, the Welfare Secretary, and Kevin Hollywake.
Literally just ghoulish cuntery of it all. God, I fucking hate her so much.
She's genuinely an actual monster. And the thing about Liz Kendall is it doesn't matter what facial expression she pulls, she always looks like a fucking evil villain. Even right now, she looks like she's the Cruella de Vil planning on how many dogs that she's going to send to get skinned.
Yeah. The Tories only plan to kill 101. We think we can outdo that. We think we need to dream big. 300,000 puppies.
Here's the Alan Partridge moment. Well, how many disabled people have you socially murdered? I don't know, 100 disabled. Well, we're going to socially murder 104 disabled people.
True. That ends the party political broadcast on behalf of the Labour Party. Thank you, Main Captain, for resubscribing with Prime. 45 months, you are a fucking lunatic. God bless you. Also, we're on a hype train. If we get to level 2 of the hype train, I will wait for the moment of death and then finger Dennis Prager.
Also, but I'd like to point out for people watching in chat, both of us genuinely really care about the plight of the disabled in this country. These aren't just memes, I would like to point out. We are taking the piss out of how miserable this is, because if you couldn't take the piss out of it, you'd cry. Well,
and that's the way I look at it, is that me doing a joke about it isn't me mocking the disabled people who are going to suffer because of this. It's to mock the ghoulishness and evil of the people who genuinely don't care. Because if I were in a position to help any of these disabled people, I would happily do so. Like, say, for instance, if I was the head of the Department of Work and Pensions, I wouldn't be putting them into a fucking mincing machine. Whereas Labour Party are doing that. And that, hopefully, the joke elucidates that point.
Yeah.
But if people are offended, sorry. That's literally all I can say to it, though.
So thank you, Jack Meller, for the $4.99. Memes do not win a political party, as funny cringe this might be. Very true.
True. Also, Jack, you are a delightful mentalist who tweets out a lot. I love you.
Big fan.
Big fan.
A cheerleader.
Indeed. Well, we all need some support. God bless him. Or they. I don't know what your fucking pronouns are. Anyway.
And also, Jack went out and campaigned for Filan Mohammed in Milford North at the election.
Anti-Semite. Nice. Good. Good. The Irish election is awful and quite racist. Yeah. Yes, it is. Doesn't that sum up all of Western democracy? Quote unquote, right now?
So my microphone, my headphones disconnected. What did you say? Sorry.
Someone in my comment, in my chat said the Irish election is both terrible and racist, and I said, well, yeah, it is, but isn't that all of Western democracy right now?
Basically true. What happened to fucking Sinn Féin? They were 20 points ahead a year ago, and now they're in third.
But they are terrorists.
Terrorist synthesizers.
They're a legitimate political party, okay?
Your
The
tone is
shadow
antagonistic, and you make me very angry.
Housing Secretary for the Conservatives. And
That is two. That is two.
Steve Coogan.
Steve Coogan. I nearly called him Alan Partridge. Like that's his actual fucking name. That's two Steve Coogan references already.
Team at the desk throughout the next 60 minutes is Nadine Dorries, author, former Conservative Cabinet Minister, broadcaster and journalist Piers
Oh,
Morgan.
Jesus Christ. Oh. You know how ISIS treats journalists? That's bad, obviously. I'm just mentioning it. I'm just mentioning that's a thing that happened.
It isn't, yeah, absolutely. I would like to say that I also think that it's bad, but I would like people to notice that it is a thing that has happened at some point in the past.
Yeah.
No reason that we're connecting it at all, but
No, I'm just saying that ISIS, the way they've treated journalists in the past, is terrible and bad. Obviously,
awful,
but
awful,
those
genuinely
videos
awful.
do exist, and I think most people will understand the point I'm making there. Hopefully, but hopefully the terms of service people don't. Anyway, these cunts.
And historian and journalist Jonathan Dimbleby. Great to have you.
How is he still alive, by the way? I was sure he was dead. Also, how wide is his fucking tie? Anyway, doesn't matter.
With us.
It looks like a bib.
All three of them
It does.
have their own personal experiences that have shaped their views on assisted dying, which we will talk about at some length today.
And yet none of them have died. What's the point then?
Many people watching at home and around the country are so strongly interested in what will happen this week. But before we get to that, let's see what's making the news this morning. And assisted dying.
Am I literally the only person in fucking Britain who doesn't care about this assisted dying bill?
Why don't you care about it? It's
Because
quite.
I haven't got a fucking opinion. I don't know enough. Like, some people say that it's good, some people say that it's bad. I genuinely have not got the experience, know-how, or direct involvement in this bill to develop a strong opinion.
Fair enough. Well, maybe you are one of the few people who doesn't care. Or maybe this is just a thing that's obsessing Westminster. I don't know. Like, for instance, the polling that suggests that actually the Labour Party's policies about farmers is actually quite positive.
Is it? Have you seen polling that says it's positive?
Who'd have thunk it? Taxing billionaires or millionaires, that's actually a popular policy. Crazy.
So I saw a poll saying that there was like plurality support for the farmers, and maybe it's been up and down.
What about the put the dying in a trebuchet bill? No. The trebuchet is not for that. The trebuchet is mainly a threat to keep people from being arseholes. The dying are not arseholes. They need to be treated with care and decency.
Dignity, yeah.
And welfare do dominate the headlines. The Observer reports the Justice Secretary describing assisted dying as a state death service. But the Sunday Times splashes with a poll claiming public support for the bill. Keir Starmer has promised the Mail on Sunday a crackdown on what he calls the bulging benefits bill blighting.
So this is the Labour Party leader?
They love a good war, don't they?
Writing in the Daily Mail about the blight of people on benefits. The Labour Party leader. Change. Vote for... I'm always reminded of fucking Tony Robinson, the wanker. Vote for change. Vote Labour.
Flapping his arms are out like a fucking madman.
Yeah, honestly. There's a bill going through Parliament in a minute, Tone. You might want to take advantage of it, chap.
Society. And the Sunday Telegraph and the Express both carry warnings about the threat from Russia. But while you were sleeping, as the BBC's reporting,
Also, just
a deal
generally,
was reached.
I don't know if you know this about me, but I really fucking hate Keir Starmer. God, I fucking despise that man. Genuinely think that he's just a genuine monster. Like,
wow, that's a real 180 from your previous
it
positions.
really is real revelation here.
Yeah.
I want to ask him, right, how he goes home and look his children in the face every night as the leader of the country to tell them that he's doing a good job, right? I want to know like how he can think of himself as being a good role model to his own children. He's like, yeah, we just got the impact assessment from the winter fuel allowance means test, and 100,000 old people are going to be in fuel poverty. I'm a good person. I did good things, and I'm just like, how on earth can you go home and like have dinner with your family and not just fucking want to end everything? Genuinely, like, how is this monster? Can he keep functioning?
Maybe that's because as a lawyer he can't break the law. That's literally they're allergic to it. So that's why he's passing the assisted dying bill, because he doesn't want to look at himself anymore. Or he's just actually a ghoul, just a terrible ghoulish monster. You know. Also, the fact that the UK ambassador to Israel said that British people are going to have to fight and die on Israel's side to defeat Iran, and hasn't been recalled, suggests that he's an even bigger monster than we thought he was.
Yep.
At the COP29 climate summit in Baku, $300 billion to help with the costs of climate change after what feels like familiar late-night drama over whether a deal could actually...
Can we stop pretending COP does anything? Because it's a joke at this point, right? Like, it's literally a fucking joke. It's a sticking plaster over a wound.
Well, it's not even a sticking plaster. It's just, the joke is that anyone's there to craft any sort of policy, and not just there to get a private jet over to the venue to fucking dick wave to their own population about their green credentials whilst doing nothing materially to change anything.
Yeah.
Be done. Jonathan, I know you take a keen interest in environmental issues. You have done for a long time. Do you think the COP process is still credible?
Yes, it's better than nothing.
Jesus, I hate posh people so much. Like, I thought like, she introduced him like, oh, you care about green stuff, so is it credible? Yes, it's wonderful. Oh, you're a cunt then, mate. Go away. Yeah, there's no. These are the people that fucking saw public policy. These are the thought leaders of the nation.
I think there's one big problem. You know
idiots.
how I think that one of the real things that Kamala Harris did really badly was just kind of live off of celebrity endorsements. No one likes fucking celebrities. No one likes public figures. In fact, you know, I think that genuinely, if the Labour Party, even if the Labour Party just stayed as right-wing as they were at the moment, but actually had like normal people in any of their political positions, they would do like 1,000 times better than what they're doing at the moment. But no one trusts the fact that it's just a bunch of fucking Oxbridge lawyers.
Yeah. Yeah, talking of the celebrity thing, you know she paid Megan Thee Stallion $5 million to perform at one thing?
Brilliant. Using their donations well then, I see.
If you're having to win over the Megan Thee Stallion fans, I think you might be in trouble.
Like, I mean, surely they should be already voting Democrat, right?
Exactly. Like, what purpose is that fucking serving?
I guess they're just trying to take the edge off all the Liz Cheney they've been seeing.
Well, maybe, but look, it's just, what a waste of fucking money. Also, like, if you believe in a political cause, why are you taking $5 million for that? You couldn't take $1 million.
You're not rich enough already as well. Like, do you need the money to, you know, shill for a political party you believe in?
Yeah, that's pretty gross. Anyway.
Yeah, COP30 is due to take place in the newly built Kibbutz Northern Gaza beachfront arena in 2025.
God almighty.
The first of the climate conferences in 1991 in Rio. The next one's going to be there. We've come a long way. It's not far enough. Despite the commitment of the $300 billion, despite all the other actions that are being taken, of course, Trump is a problem on the side. We do not know what he will do. We know that China is moving, despite...
Don't, because you will get debate broed to fuck by the person sat next to you. Okay, Piers Morgan will absolutely debate you about this.
Yeah, but what about Obama's failure to deal with these things? What about your hero, Obama?
It'd be funny if they went, I'm literally a communist. Would be a very funny response from Jonathan Dimbleby.
All that, the evidence is overwhelming that we're creeping further and further almost ineluctably towards a crisis that will dwarf all other crises we've ever experienced.
And yet when it comes to the politics, Nadine, I mean, during your time in government, this was very often seemed to be at the top of the agenda.
Why is she being consulted and not just being given a crayons and a colouring book? Why is she being asked to speak about things?
I mean, the thing is that if they'd have just like had Nadine Dorries as like the right-wing representative rather than having a panel full of Tories, then honestly, I'm down. I'm down with Nadine Dorries. I think she's iconic. I think she's hilarious. But the idea that she's going to be one of 3 right-wing political representatives rather than just there talking about the memes behind the scenes in the Tory party, like, what's the fucking point? What is she going to bring to the nuanced and sensitive subject of assisted dying, rather than fucking wearing like a jester's cap, which she should be wearing surely.
Well, she makes me want to die, so
But it's gone out of fashion, hasn't it? In this country, at least. Why has that happened?
I don't know, because we're not in government anymore. But what I will say, though, is
I don't know, because we're not in government anymore. Honestly, I can only repeat what I said earlier. Why hasn't she been given some crayons and a colouring book? That's all she's good for. She's a fucking moron.
worrying, because the economic growth in this country is going to come from technology, and much of that technology is centred around the green industries, where there are many jobs to be created and improvements to be made. So, you know, this COP was very much like COP26, which I attended as a minister, which was all in the final hour, all at the last minute, and as we were saying just before, all the drama that comes overnight. But let's not let that detract from what is the serious issue about what was happening. Don't think it's enough money. Certainly not enough money to those poorer countries. We saw what happened in Spain, here in Europe, just weeks ago. Climate change is real.
Spain isn't one of the poorer countries, you knob. What? It's like Pacific Island nations and shit. Spain fucked up because Spain has, like, the same oligarchy we do. And they didn't give a fuck about their people. Basically, the government and the royal family abandoned them.
That's true. I mean, it's and also just I think they suffer from being in the position that they are in the Mediterranean, right?
Oh yeah, like, don't get me wrong. It's difficult because they go through incredible spells of dryness and then like torrential downpours and stuff, which doesn't make for good, you know, good times. But as always, unless it's like the most ridiculously extreme thing like a tsunami, the fact that you have such ecological events and they are predictable in the sense that they're going to happen, you can't predict the exact day, means you should put in infrastructure to be able to deal with it. Constantly we have rivers that flood, and we know they flood, and we do nothing to stop it.
Yeah, which was just what, this week, right, where it started snowing and the fucking country grinds to a halt.
Oh yeah, well, the perfect example. You know, I mean, I was joking the other week about we have an inch of snow and the country stops completely. And Americans were like, oh, that's a bit over the top. But there was literally, hang on, I'm pretty sure I bookmarked this. There was literally a perfect example, and it was from like the Swansea Post or whatever the fucking local paper.
Angry people in local newspapers.
And it was literally just a picture of like the bus station, and there was literally an inch of snow. And all of the buses were grounded. Did I bookmark it, or did I just... I must have... I don't think I did. But anyway, yeah. It was literally an inch of snow on the ground. And all of the buses came to a fucking grinding halt. And you're just like, this country's a joke. This country's shit. We're so fucking rich, we could be very good. But no. Just no. And now it's been raining for 3 days, and we've got people dying. What?
And like people's houses are gonna fucking disappear in like floods and shit. Like,
but Ben Shapiro told us you can just sell your house. It's fine.
True. Aquaman, I hear, is very much looking to get into the property business.
Well, he has a significant portfolio. Yeah.
He fucking will do by the time this is over.
All of Florida.
Yeah, Cape Coral.
Realising we accept that some of these changes may need to happen not as fast as we thought they could, because we don't want the cost to be borne by individuals. that maybe it's slipping down the agenda.
And hard to have this debate in a cost of living crisis when many people have been watching their pennies. Piers, we know that you're one of the people in this country who's got good connections with Donald Trump. What do you think he'll do about this?
When you say good connection, do you mean the connection between his tongue and Donald Trump's ring piece? That is a very good connection, yeah.
Very much so.
Once he's back in the White House.
Well, I mean, I would call it cop out, as I have done the other 28, because I just don't think it ever probably has the landing impact it ought to have. But I do think the most crucial person may not be Donald Trump, but it might be his best buddy right now, Elon Musk, who is rapidly emerging as one of the most transformative and powerful people on the planet in different...
Oh, Jesus Christ, he managed to get worse. Piers Morgan, how have your takes gotten worse?
Oh, because Trump's fucking going to be president-elect now. He can start pandering to whoever he thinks is going to win or thinks is going to be powerful, right? Remember, like 2-3 years ago, where he just decided immediately that he hated Boris Johnson for some reason and started shilling for Sir Keith? Just immediately, like, fucking heel turn, became like a full-on Keith Starmerite.
Yeah.
He just wants to be close to power. He's an absolute fucking brown-nosing, boot-licking, fucking cuck piece of shit.
He really is. Elon Musk is the biggest waste of human existence ever. He's a joke.
different spheres, whether it's SpaceX or Neuralink, or in particular, of course, electric cars. He believes in climate change. He thinks it's real. He's there right next to Trump now, morning, noon and night, dictating pretty much everything that Trump seems to be doing. And I think he's going to become a pivotal figure. Trump's view, I've spoken to him about this, is that you've got to bring the people with you. And that if you're just putting a sledgehammer down and say no more fossil fuels, it actually, A, it will be ruinous to an economy that does that, which it would be. But second, you don't bring people with you. It's like anything. When you smash people over the head and tell them you've got to do something, they don't do it. So I think it's got to be...
Oh yeah, Donald Trump, known for his diplomatic approach to the world. Yeah, shut the fuck up.
Capitalism is fucking cancer.
Exactly, it's just like the
Honestly,
guy
Henry,
whose
Thomas
entire
Clara,
political
please come
platform
back.
is on triggering everyone who disagrees with me.
Yeah, but you've got to bring the people along, except all the little snowflake libcocks. Fucking hell. Yes, thank you, Elliot. I quite agree.
Done in stages, probably not as fast as Jonathan would like, but actually if you bring the people with you in the end, I think...
So, it's happening but not as fast as you like, but COP need to do it faster, but if you do it too fast, then it won't work, because the people won't come along with you, but COP is a cop-out. Am I to take that as your actual position, Keith?
It's almost like he's a moron.
Yeah.
I think they will come.
Okay, well, we'll be back with you three a bit later in the programme, but it's a big week ahead of us in this country, not just because of the vote on assisted dying, but also we will see in black and white how the government wants to tackle a problem that has grown astonishingly in recent years. Just take a look at this. The number of working age people on health-related benefits stands at 4.2 million. That's increased by 1 million since 2019.
Wow, I wonder if there was a massive fucking pandemic in the time between then and now that might have led to that massive increase, you dopey bastards.
It's honestly, it's so tilting how we just continually get told that there's just something kind of wrong with Britain. Britain's just like broken. And again, all this Gen Z are lazy. They're just lazy. They don't want to work. And look, people are just fucking sick because there was a fucking pandemic. Like, you mad shit. Like, it's so obvious.
The number who are not working due to long-term sickness has risen since the pandemic. It's now at nearly 2.8 million. And the bill for taxpayers for health-related benefits is currently £60 billion more than, and it's forecast to rise to 100 billion a year by the end of the decade. Well, Liz Kendall, the Work and
Well, that's why
Pension
you
Secretary,
fund
is
the
with us.
NHS, right?
Yeah.
That's why we fund the healthcare service to get people well again, right? You say, well, as if there's something magical that you can do to shrink the benefits bill when people are sick, other than just, how about we try and make people not sick? Surely, how is it any more difficult than just get the people who are sick to not be sick anymore?
No healthcare, just work.
Yeah, exactly. literally. Because the NHS, right? Remember how we were talking on, I don't know whether you were watching at the time, but one of the lines that keeps coming out from representatives of the government is, well, no, we can't give the NHS money until it reforms. And I'm like, well, what are you going to? How are you going to reform it? But where's the money going to come from for the reform if you want it to reform first? I'm like, no, people are sick now. People need healthcare now. This fucking all this kind of posturing over, well, just kind of buying into this narrative that somehow the NHS is a leaky bucket, having money poured into it, rather than just something that's been destroyed by conservative austerity. So much so that we have to wait. We can't just put money into it now. We've got to fix the leaks. The leaks of the fucking private sector. Get fucking rid.
Yep.
This morning, it's great to have you with us. As we've just shown people, not just the costs, but the increases are absolutely jaw-dropping. Why do you think this has happened?
Jaw-dropping. Nice editorialising there.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Do you
very
want to
much
talk about the jaw-dropping rise in the number of billionaires in the exact same period?
Yeah, should we talk about the jaw-dropping level of poverty and destitution in this country? Should we talk about the jaw-dropping level to which wages haven't kept up with inflation in real terms since the trade unionism was kind of killed in this country during the Thatcher administration? Should we talk about that? No, let's just talk about the benefits.
Yeah.
I think there are a complex number of reasons. We know we are an older, sicker nation. Life expectancy and healthy life expectancy had halted even before the pandemic. We are seeing a really worrying number of young people now out of work, not in education, training or employment, often driven by mental health problems, but also made worse if they lack basic skills, maths and English GCSE. And many of these problems are concentrated in parts of the country that were decimated in the 80s and 90s, that the last government promised but failed to level up. So there are...
Whoa. The last government failed and promised to level up. Okay, that's interesting that you say they were destroyed in the 80s and 90s. Might there have been a government at all between the 90s and the last government that could have done literally anything to reverse those changes? Huh?
Nope. They just went John Major, and then there's like a fortnight or something, and then David Cameron. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And nothing happened in that period. It's trying to accelerate the decline of post-industrial Britain.
No. Also, they've been destroyed by Tory austerity, which is why we're going to austerity harder. Just dig upwards. That's all you need to do.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, as Jack points out in chat, like, yeah, plenty of areas in the country haven't been levelled up, which is why Grangemouth and Port Talbot are closing, and you're not doing anything to save them or to retrain the workforce.
Yeah, they're not levelling up the country, they're just levelling it, I think.
True.
Why is my camera being weird? Oh, there we go.
Real problems in certain parts of the country. And what we intend to do is to get Britain working again. This is about increasing people's opportunities to work and get on at work with more better paid jobs in every part of the country. But it's also about understanding this fundamental issue. A healthy nation and a healthy economy are two sides of the same coin. And the problem at the moment is that our employment support system and welfare system is not set up to deal with that problem. It's too much focused on official unemployment figures. Those need to be kept low, but we've got to solve this conundrum of poor health, poor work, and not enough people being able to earn to build a better life.
I know you've studied this for a long time, both in opposition and now in government, but there are 1 million more people claiming health-related benefits. Do you really, in your bones, think that there are 1 million more people in this country who are not capable of work than there were a few short years ago?
I think what is this framing here? Like, of course, it's just full of liars, right? You can't genuinely believe these people are all genuinely sick, despite the fact they all have notes from medical professionals to prove that they are. All of the doctors just conspiring with all of the work-showing people to pretend to be disabled? You're the fucking lead journalist in the BBC and the politics department, and you're here just deliberately framing it like disabled people are faking it. You're a fucking monster.
Yeah, Inky, yeah, he's a bit Arbit McFry. Work makes you free. Yeah, it's a little bit. It's a little bit fascio. Like I know actually it's not even just fascism. Fascism sort of stole the idea, but it's this old Protestant work ethic shit that the idea of work in of itself being the goal, when actually work is a means to an end. Work either in the sense of trying to achieve a certain goal, or in the capitalism, you're detached from the actual end product, and so you're essentially just doing a thing you need to do to get the money to live. Whereas these fucking capitalist ghouls who don't do a fucking proper day's work ever are out here like, oh no, you need to work. Work will make you better. No, it won't, actually. In many cases, work will make you significantly worse. Anyway.
A combination of factors here. I do think we are seeing an increase in the number of people with mental health problems, both self-diagnosed. I think it's good that stigma has been reduced, but also diagnosed by doctors. We are also seeing more people in their 50s and above, often women with bad knees, hips, joints. We've got a real problem with our health service, with people waiting a long time for treatment.
But on that issue of mental health that you raised there, and you say sometimes it's self-diagnosis, if you look at the increase in rates, especially with young people who are not either going to college or working because of mental health issues, do you think you might have
You can't self-diagnose yourself off sick from work with mental health problems.
No, that's not
You
true.
doctors know.
Yeah.
You can do it for like was it 3 days maximum? You can do with like self-declaration. Then you need a doctor's note. So
Also,
this idea that they're just framing this as a lie. They're deliberately trying to mislead viewers.
It's such boomer conservatism as well. Because notice how she slipped in there, especially young people. Because there are no older people with mental health concerns. Of course, it's just young people lying in order to sponge. Is literally the thing that's being discussed here by these two absolute mutants.
And again, they're just lying. They're just lying and trying to claim that people who are part of this cohort of people signed off to work with mental health problems are just self-diagnosed. No. If they're signed off, they've been signed off by a professional. That's not how self-diagnosis works.
Or medicalized what essentially can be normal feelings. People now often say they have anxiety. But have we gone too far in this? And actually, life is hard. Sometimes you might feel bad, but that doesn't necessarily mean you can't work.
I genuinely believe...
You absolute fucking foul, atrocious monster. I honestly hope you suffer. I hope you suffer in your life. And then maybe you get some fucking perspective.
Exactly. Again, absolutely right. And it's just such a level zero analysis of people who, again, none of these people actually live in the world that anyone else who deals with these problems lives in. No. Again, it's why so many people who are part and parcel of our media and political class keep trying to claim that mental health problems are being caused by young people with their phones on social media. No, how about it's the fact that life feels meaningless and pointless because work doesn't pay, the country's falling apart, everybody is nasty, it's a soulless world with no community, and the climate is falling apart, the world is dying, and the Nazis are back. But I'm sure it's too much iPhone, actually.
And we might have to go and fight against Iran alongside the IDF.
Oh,
Yippee!
God. Yeah, geopolitical instability, definitely good for mental health, I heard.
Yes, love it. I love seeing videos across my timeline of babies that have been slaughtered every fucking day.
Teenagers burning to death with their IV drip still in their arm. Yeah, it's really good for mental wellness, I heard.
Believe that there's not one simple thing. The last government said people were too bluesy to work. I mean, I don't know who they were speaking to. There is a genuine problem with mental health in this country, and if you look at the best evidence, there is an increase. People are much more anxious. I think the cost of living crisis, anxious parents, anxious children, the impact of social media. But I think what we need, you've seen, and actually a doubling of the number of young people who are not in education, employment or training saying that they have a mental health problem. So what do we need to do to tackle this problem? Number one...
Well, threaten to take away the only financial lifeline they have. That can't be bad for their mental health.
It's interesting here as well that, I'm sure Liz Kendall will find loads of ways to become a demon during this interview, but it's interesting that so far, Laura Kuenssberg looks more evil than Liz Kendall. Like, Liz Kendall is looking like the better of the two. That's how much of a monster Laura Kuenssberg is.
Yeah, I mean, truly ghoulish shit.
Shift the focus to preventing it happening in the first place with more mental health support in the community and in people's homes. we are going to be bringing forward a new youth guarantee so that every young person is earning on learning, overhauling the apprenticeship system so more people have a chance to train.
By the way, literally every government does this, the jobs guarantee, and it's never actually a jobs guarantee. That what it is yet more financial propping up for the middle class by making stupid middle class fake course runners take in, 50 unemployed people every day and teach them nothing. But they can be checked off the list. They're no longer on the unemployment watch list anymore.
Exactly. It reminds me of when they did workfare during the coalition government.
Exactly, yeah, workfare stuff. It's absolute fucking waste of time. A complete waste of time and money. But it gives the Daily Mail a boner, so that's enough.
Doesn't a massage?
Bringing together that work, health and skills support, really driven by people in local areas, because that's what our young people deserve.
But if young people will not take up those offers, will they face sanctions? Will they lose benefits if they just say no? Because you've said yourself should be no option of people having a life on benefits.
Yes. And the reason this is so important is we will transform those opportunities for young people. We will put in place a youth guarantee so everyone has the chance to be earning or learning. But in return for those new opportunities, young people will have a responsibility to take them up. And let me tell you why. Because if you lack basic skills in today's world, that is brutal. If you are out of work when you're young, that can have lifelong consequences in terms of your future job prospects and earning potential. And it is also bad for your health. So we, the government, we will face up to our responsibility, unlike the last government, of having that guarantee in place. But young people in return
literally, she's actually doing the meme. I was joking earlier when I said, well, they promised change, but they don't seem to change. But I was like, actually, no, they are promising change. They're promising to do all the draconian shit the Tories pretended they were going to do and do it harder. That's the change. And she's just like, yes, the last government failed at cracking down on the benefits scroungers. We will do this even harder.
Yeah, I mean, literally, fucking ghouls. Absolute ghouls. And the thing is, they're pandering to a group of people who will never vote for them. Never. It's not even electorally worthwhile to do this. Except, of course, it's not about that. They just serve capital.
Yep.
And you know what? The young people I meet are desperate for a chance. But they're desperate for a chance to get skills. They're desperate for a chance to earn a lurk. We'll fulfil our responsibilities and make that side of the bargain.
But as the welfare secretary, do you believe, as...
To be fair to her, Jason in chat, yeah, not working isn't good for your health, actually. Having, no purpose does... I mean, the longer you're unemployed, the more likely it is you will to develop significant mental health issues. Now, that's not that work makes you free. It's not that thing. It's having, a structure to your life.
Having a vocation,
yeah,
right?
Like you get up at the same time, you eat at the same time. Like there's a routine to it that keeps you in check. It's not the work itself that's the issue. But the thing is, it doesn't fucking pay to do it anyway.
That's the issue.
It's not like the jobs that are going to be created are going to be good. It's like gig economy shit, 0-hour contracts. You're no better off.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like when these conversations always happen. They just say, well, you need to have a job of some description to be able to make your mental health good. I'm like, well, no, obviously not, right? Surely it's going to improve people's mental health if they have to go out fucking pissing in bottles for Amazon, like wearing electronic tags in an Amazon warehouse on shitty wages and being worked to the fucking bone. In fact, that sounds terrible for mental health, right? Maybe if there were some jobs that actually provided some level of economic stability to encourage people to get them in the first place, rather than offering them the minimum possible they can offer, which is obviously minimum wage, minimum conditions, minimum terms, minimum benefits, whilst also being fucking workhouses in terms of what they expect out of people. Literally, again, wearing electronic tags in an Amazon warehouse. Or it could be something where people genuinely feel a connection and contribution to their community. But most of the fucking hollowed out economy that we've created post-financial crisis, it is just sinecures. It is just people pushing paper, doing nothing for shit.
Yeah, absolute waste of time. Like, if they were sending people on actual training courses, like to actually learn some shit, cool. But it's not that. It's not that at all. It's a waste of everyone's fucking time involved. It's make work.
the last Labour government did, that there are people who can work who won't work.
Yes,
That's a phrase that one of your predecessors as a new Labour minister used. Do you believe that?
Yes, and I know from speaking to our job coaches, our fantastic job coaches in job centres, that there are people who could work who aren't. But I think they are in the minority. The young people that I speak to, I went to my Tesco's in my constituency in Beaumont Leys the other week. Young people really struggling with anxiety and depression, getting support.
And that was just because you walked in, presumably.
Tesco's and the King's Trust to get the skills and training they need, to get those jobs, supporting work. And you know what they said? They found it was better for their mental health to have that structure, to have that purpose with the right support.
But what will
I think it's a challenge, but I am optimistic.
But what will you do about people who you believe can work but won't work? I mean, you are already, which might have slipped slightly under the radar, the government is already tightening up the rules on who can claim disability benefits. It's known as the work capability assessment. Now that is being changed, and the projections are that more than 400,000 people might lose out benefits. Now, disability groups have said...
Evil, evil bastards. Just evil. They've already cut it to the bone. The Tories have cut this to the bone. And they're like, oh no, let's fuck over 400,000 more people. You will deserve not to win the next election.
Absolutely.
Now,
Damn fucking straight.
The Nigel Farage government that comes in and institutes camps won't be better. But just on a basic moral level, you, the Labour Party, deserve to never be in government again.
Although speaking of the Labour government, speaking of the Labour Party never deserving to be in government again, did you see the petition that people deciding to call another general election?
Amazing. Yeah. Look, on a moral level, they don't deserve to be the government. On an actual level, obviously they do. The system's shit, but under the system they won. 4 months ago. 1.5 million people, apparently, although I would not be surprised if there was significant butt farming, going on there. Have signed a petition saying, we want another general election now. And interestingly, Nigel Farage says, we've never seen the likes of it again. We should definitely follow this. This is democracy, people's action. 6.9 million, I think it was. Nice. A million people signed a petition to not trigger revoke Article 50 and stay in the European Union.
Yeah, they did. And
I wonder if Nigel had exactly the same response about democracy then.
Yeah, or calling them sore losers in 2016 when they wanted to
Ramonas.
Yeah, it's so funny to me. It's just, the thing is that the funniest thing about this petition to me is this idea, we've been lied to. We were lied to about what the Labour government was going to do. And I'm just like, yeah, you were. Tough shim, eh? Who's the fucking gormless rube who took Keir Starmer at his word?
Well, yeah, exactly. I feel like, as a leftist, I feel like I've got the noose around my neck looking across just going, is this your first time?
But again, I mean, to be fair to a lot of these people, they may be rubes. They may be rubes who took Keir Starmer at his word when he was campaigning during the general election, right? And that's their own fault for taking him at his word. But you've got to throw a really bombastic side eye towards the media and the press throughout the entirety of the months leading up to the general election and during the general election period. Where was the scrutiny? Where was the scrutiny of Labour's plans for government? They just allowed them to campaign and run on a manifesto that said literally fuck all in it, that said nothing in it. Then when they get into government, although the mystery box turns out they don't like the mystery box, I'm like, well, you shouldn't have fucking voted for the mystery box then, should you? But the media should have at least tried to probe into what the contents of the mystery box was at literally any point during the last fucking 2 years in the lead up to July.
Yeah, exactly. The idea that we're now going to hold Keir Starmer accountable, motherfucker, he's gone back on every pledge he's ever made during his entire political life. Even the one thing he seemed vaguely principled on, which was, we have to rejoin the European Union is the biggest thing ever. Rawr! He's now like, no, we need to make Brexit work. Yeah, no, we need to do that.
The thing he
and don't get me wrong, we do need to make Brexit work, because it's a fucking thing that's happened, and we live in the same country, so, get on with it, I guess. But the point being that every single principle he's ever had and every position he's ever staked in the ground, he's gone back on everything.
Well, it's funny because Brexit was the thing that he literally tanked the 2019 general election to try and upend, which is then the thing that he upended when the FBPE twats all voted for him, thinking that he was pretending to want to make Brexit work rather than revoke Article 50 and rejoin the European Union, and then realised that that wasn't true, and in fact that this whole legion of people within the country, I say legion, I really mean hundreds of thousands of fewer people who voted for Jeremy Corbyn. It's not much of a legion, but all of these disparate groups of people around the country who imprinted upon Keir Starmer what they wanted him to stand for as the anti-Tory candidate, rather than the things that he actually said and did and what was in their policy documentation. I'm just like, well, you're all idiots then. You're all clowns. Like you're wearing clown shoes, walking out of the clown car, here going, well, I thought Keir Starmer would revoke Article 50 and also be left-wing and also not throw minorities under the bus, but he's now actually doing all the conservative stuff that he said during the election campaign, plus some things that I dislike that I perceive to be anti-business that weren't in the manifesto because I just trusted them to not do it, even though they said they might do it. Like, you're just an idiot. You're just stupid, aren't you?
But have you considered the alternative here, which is it's not an issue?
It's just not an issue, is it? It's not an issue.
It's not an issue.
And then people got mad at us. People got genuinely mad at us in the run-up to the election, saying, oh, you're voting for the Green Party. You're not supporting Labour. You're not voting for Keir Starmer's Labour Party to try and stop the Tories. And I'm just like, I looked at the policy documentation. No, I'm not going to do it, right?
Well, can I just say, in reaction to the fact that they're now doing this, like, oh, benefit scroungers, we need to mince the poor, the fact that you were calling, not you, no justice, you, the Labour Party supporters out there, were calling me a Tory enabler. No, my friends. I'm going to play the Uno Reverso card on you now, pricks. You enabled this Toryism. You are the Tory enabler.
Exactly. Literally, absolutely, they are the ones who enabled Toryism. But the problem is, of course, is that for most of these people, a lot of these perceived, like, pride flag Thatcherites, as I call them, who think of themselves as bastions of progressivism, but really they love free trade and anti-trade union legislation. They love the single permissible ideology in the UK, which is loving business people regardless of who they are or what they do or how much surplus value that they extract. And anything to the left of that is fucking communism to these people, even basic social democracy, who voted for Keir Starmer because he said we're going to love business, right? Which they are now doing, cozying up to BlackRock, but whatever. And then getting mad at like the increase on taxes on employers' national insurance contributions or whatever. These people don't view Toryism, they don't view the Conservative Party as an ideological project.
Yeah.
They view it as the bad man. Boris Johnson, the floppy hair Brexit bad man. That's the only thing that they conceive as the Conservative Party, is the bad people doing the bad things rather than people driven by a shitty ideology. The reason why they don't think that is because they agree with the shitty ideology, because they fucking voted for David Cameron twice. Yeah. A lot of these people voted for David Cameron twice because he was the nice side of the Conservative Party, i.e. a pride flag Thatcherite. We're going to legalise gay marriage, which was a good thing, which passed because of the Labour Party and not because of the Tories anyway. But they got to avoid having to care about the disabled people they socially fucking murdered from 2010 to 2016 because their mortgages stayed cheap because of austerity, and they could do it with a clear conscience because they were pretending to be socially progressive at the time. And then as soon as they became if a smidgen reactionary during the Brexit era, they were like, well, we have to get rid of the Conservative Party now. Tough shit. They support the liberal conservatism that you've always supported. Just now they're outside the European Union. Fuck you. I don't give a shit what you think.
Yeah. That is a stiff dick of poo. Also, like, BlackRock. Literally BlackRock. I mean, what next? Are they going to come out in favour of the Umbrella organisation from Resident Evil? Like, what fucking ghoulish, demonic hell would have the Labour Party coming out in support of BlackRock?
Well, that's the thing is that, again, anybody who was paying the slightest bit of attention would have known that this was going to happen. They already had these plans to rebuild Britain via BlackRock. You know, Daniela Gabor was reporting on this and talking about this way before the election had even started, before the campaign period had started. She was talking about how they had these plans to let BlackRock rebuild Britain, just PFI 2.0 being done to keep public debt off the books, to get this wash of infrastructure spending all owned by the private sector rather than owned by us. We all knew this. We knew who funded Labour Together. We knew it was funded by bankers and hedge funders and private equity people and what have you, links to the Israeli lobby, all that kind of shit. We knew he was a member of the Trilateral Commission. People from his inner circle were all very large members of the Britain America Project. They're all Atlanticists. We all knew exactly what the hell was going to happen right from the off. And again, these people are gormless rubes, and they weren't fucking paying attention.
Thank you, Lord Freetus, for for gifting us up to Inky Black. Although I will take that point back off you for still being French. So.
Things, and they're now going, oh well, we don't like what we've ordered. We need a new election. How do they said they're doing things they didn't say they do? That's your fucking problem, innit?
Yep.
Right? I hate Keir Starmer too, but the fact that I have to share the hatred of Keir Starmer with people who are getting mad over multi-millionaires paying the same taxes as everybody else, or private school poshos having to cancel Netflix and make their coffee at home. I'm like, no, I hate him because of all of the fucking austerity measures on welfare payments to poor pensioners and starving children, because I actually care about the utility of policy and not rich people having a fucking temper tantrum. And these are the people all signing this petition going, wow, we need a new election. I'm like, tough shit. Elections happen once every 5 years. You had it, you lost it. Now you got to wait whilst these people screw up the country instead of the fucking Conservative Party, which is the same party in a different colour rosette. Well done.
Yeah. But pretty much, yeah. And there's a lot of, I would probably imagine, reform people, because like their polling continues to grow. What a surprise. Neoliberalism leading to the growth of fascism. Who could have thunk it?
And they're going to win a bunch of seats off of Labour in the North. They're going to do it. Like, on the current polling, Yvette Cooper is projected to lose her seat to Reform over in Pontefract.
Again, they deserve it.
Labour Heartland seat thrown on the fucking scrap heap to win over middle-class swing voters in the home counties.
Yeah. When I say they deserve it, I don't mean Reform deserve to win. I mean Labour deserve to lose.
Yeah.
Actually, all you're going to do then is land many, many, many people in poverty. Are you comfortable with that?
Well, we're actually going to be bringing forward our own reforms on sickness and disability benefits. That's what the Chancellor announced in the budget and the OBR has confirmed.
But you're not dropping that, but I want to be clear on this point. So you inherited changes to this particular set of rules.
And those savings will be made, but
right,
we will
so
be
you're going to save
forward
the money,
our
which
own
means
reforms. And let me tell you why.
Just to be really clear, you are still planning to save the money here, and that means removing benefits from people.
We will deliver the savings, but this has got to be
deliver the savings. So literally, the Tory ghoulishness they're just going to carry on with. So when they said no return to austerity and change, what they meant was the opposite of those things. Literally the opposite. Thanks.
Proper package of reforms, and I want to be really careful here, because millions of people rely on those benefits, and many of them, whenever they hear this, are frightened and worried, and I don't blame them after the last 14 years. But firstly, our starting point is the belief in the equal rights and chances of disabled people and those with health problems to earn a living just like anybody else does. We need to transform those opportunities by breaking down the barriers into work, but that does mean we need to look at the system of benefits and reform or replace the work capability assessment, because it's not working. It's not working for the people who depend on it, and it's not working for the taxpayer
But I just want to be really clear on what you will do, because the plans that you inherited from the former government would mean that more than 400,000 people would be denied maybe as much as £400 a month. You want to make that saving. You want to get the money out of the system.
We will deliver those savings, but we will bring forward our own reforms. You'll hear more about this when we launch our white paper on Tuesday.
But are you telling those people this morning they'll be able to keep their benefits or not? As you rightly say, people are worried about this.
I'm saying we will bring forward our own reforms. You wouldn't expect me to announce this on your programme, but my objective is that disabled people should have the same chances and rights to work as everybody else. They need more opportunities.
Why would I expect you to not tell them on the show? You don't do it in front of Parliament, which is where you're supposed to fucking do it. When was the last time a government announced a big policy change in Parliament? They don't.
Also, as a chatter points out, they literally had a pledge to bring disabled people's rights in line with UN recommendations. But of course, they fucking dropped and U-turned on because, it's Keir Starmer.
Yeah.
So, pledge breaker.
True. Also, thank you, Rohak, for resubscribing. You mentalist.
Also, I dropped an interesting graphic in the Twitter DMs about the the petition, the new general election petition, which I think is quite interesting and quite telling.
Let's have a look. Heat map. What we got here? The heat map of the general election petition is interesting insofar as it shows most signatures are in the post-industrial towns and cities, basically confirming that where the reform vote will come from unless Labour address managed decline and regional inequality. Brackets, they won't. Yeah, pretty much.
Literally post-industrial Britain there, loads of it in Wales.
London. Hang on, no, whoa. So the redder...
The darker the red, the more people signed the petition.
Oh, really? Okay, so London, communist, obviously. Birmingham, communist. Yeah, so it's... Well, actually, no, those aren't really the urban areas, then, are they?
No, so it's coming from, like, post-industrial Britain, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, look at the Welsh areas. They really signed, especially right up in North Wales.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of it's... Yeah, there's in the valleys and stuff.
I mean, Wales should be like Labour heartland territory. Wales should be sweeping
for a long time. What was the seat called? Oh, it's so annoying. Anyway, it was the largest Labour majority for years and years. And I've forgotten what the fuck it's called now. Blaenau Gwent. Blaenau Gwent was the biggest Labour majority for years and years. Yeah, Wales was always big Labour. I mean, he still is, basically. If you look at with Cardiff and Swansea and stuff, it's, yeah.
And so what's interesting as well, you look at the Birmingham area there, where you've just got yellow, and then you immediately just get out of the city centre and the deepest of red.
Yeah.
Right? That is, what is that? That's just north of Wolverhampton, right? Is that like the Stone, Stafford area?
Yeah, that's up towards Stone and Stafford. It's past, basically, once you get outside of the West Midlands urban conurbation, well, technically it's a county now, although not a historic one. Yeah, and then you've got down into Warwickshire, that very red bit there, the kind of L-shaped one. Yeah, so you've got it's. I mean, there's a lot of countryside stuff as well. A lot of Wiltshire and Hampshire.
I think Newark is the biggest one. That Newark is darker than everywhere else. The big long one in the middle there.
This one?
No, to the right of it. The really dark red one.
Oh, that one. There we go. Yeah, okay.
I think that is the darkest one that you've got on the map there, which is Robert Jenrick's seat, which is quite funny to me.
Yeah. Oh, no,
that run right Durham. There. Jesus.
Yeah. Top of Durham there. Fuck.
I mean, that is where, a lot of the northeast is where Reform had their biggest support. Again, it's all Labour heartland territory. It's where Labour Party, again, not necessarily quote-unquote red wall, which is more kind of northwestern. But even then, even the northwest, you see lots of red there too, in between Liverpool and Manchester as well, and like the Cheshire area too.
Yeah.
Like, there's loads of Labour heart Labour that literally voted for Labour Party forever, who are getting absolutely fucking furious with him. And they'll never vote Tory, of course, because they still remember Thatcher.
Yeah.
So they'll just end up fucking voting Reform.
And exactly. Again, they will literally lead to the rise of fascism. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, again, people who should be having... I guess these are also seats with very kind of older populations as well. Since we had the great migration of young people to inner cities and during the university boom, they're not going back to Newark, are they?
Well, and of course the counter-urbanisation boom of the 90s and 2000s, where older people moved out to the suburbs and sub-suburbs.
Yeah, exactly. So there's this real kind of dynamic of young people and old people living in different constituencies. And, of course, this just post-industrial Britain continually seeing decline, and unless Labour reverse that decline, instead of just letting Port Talbot and Grangemouth die and replacing them with new industrial centres, like actually getting some new jobs in the area, they'll get lost fucking forever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And again, the Labour Party have made the rod for their own back by chasing, 50,000 votes in this area, the southeast. They've given up everything else. Well done, you pricks.
Underpinned by a system that actually supports people into work rather than writing.
Yeah, BlackRock are definitely going to address this decline. Honest.
100%, definitely.
They're totally not the people who caused it at all. No.
for many people, this is about poverty and it's about the fear of losing out. And one of this government's early decision was to take winter fuel payments away from all but the poorest pensioners. And one of those who's losing out, one of our viewers called Jenny, wants some advice. She wants us to ask you, I hear energy prices are rising again. Should I cut down on heating and put on a blanket?
The first thing I...
Oh, fucking hell. Oh, God. The Labour Party are cooked. They really are.
4 months. That's all it's been. 4 months already cooked.
Again, this should be like the tail end of the honeymoon period. This should still be like, I'm good to... And they've cratered their vote. Literally, they're behind Kemi Bad Enoch.
I mean, genuinely, right? I genuinely think that they would have avoided all of it. They would have avoided all of this if they'd not just done like the winter fuel allowance means test like the week before recess.
Exactly, because then all of the news for the entirety of the late summer was, why are you freezing pensioners, you pricks, for weeks and weeks.
Exactly, and then immediately after that kind of left the news cycle, and we got the farmer protest. Oh, it's now winter. The fuel bills are up again.
Yep.
And now we're gonna have to. Sorry, now we have to rerun the whole fucking discourse.
Yep. And then they did it chasing, headlines in the Daily Mail, as if he thinks that writing in the Daily Mail is going to get him any votes, at all. Not one person that reads the Daily Mail is going to vote for him. Not one.
I'd say to her is, see if you are entitled to pension credit. We've got over 800,000 pensioners missing out on up to 3,000...
Okay, but I don't want to relitigate this again, but if they all sign up for the fucking pensioner credit, then the actual savings you're making will go away.
Again, like, if you're really worried about these people who are on pension credit, if it's going to be a kind of a wash as to how much money you have to pay out from the state, just reinstate the universal winter fuel payment and you'll save everybody.
Exactly. And no one falls through the cracks then. This is literally the worst of both worlds. Yeah, Rohak, not just did he write in the Daily Mail, it was a front page leader article which described basically disabled people as a blight on the country. Because something, we need to mince the poor.
The blight of the benefits bill.
Yeah. Again, he will deserve to lose.
£900 a year on pension credit and also missing out on their winter fuel payment. There's also the £150 warm homes discount, which is available not just to those on pension credit, but those just above. And there's also the Household Support Fund, which we have extended for another year with £1 billion, which can help the very poorest pensioners on pension credit, but those just above too.
But Secretary of State, she wants to know, should she turn her heating down? Should she put a blanket on?
I do not want anyone choosing between heating or eating.
And they will. You have ensured that they have to. Answer the question.
Yeah, you literally, and she knows this because her own department, the DWP, did an impact assessment showing that 100,000 at least pensioners will be in fuel poverty this winter, specifically because of the measures that they took to means test the winter fuel payment. She knows full well that people will be choosing between heating and eating. She has the figures. Her own department commissioned the impact assessment.
Yeah.
That is why we have made the biggest push to make sure the very poorest pensioners get the support they're entitled to. There's other support available too, and I think it's really important people know that.
Let's turn then to a huge and very sensitive subject of assisted dying. Now, MPs will be able to vote...
This is a bit over the top. She's mentioned this a dozen fucking times now. I don't think it is that important.
As they wish on Friday. There's separate draft legislation in the Scottish Parliament, but it will be a huge discussion this week in Westminster. Now, you back this change. Why?
Because I just enjoy people dying. I feast on the souls of the recently deceased. I am Liz Kendall, an actual ghoul.
Legacy of Kane.
Yeah.
3. Legacy of Kendall.
By the way, I'm not suggesting the people that are for this bill literally do that. I'm just suggesting she does. She's got a taste for human flesh.
Yeah, Soul Reaver 3.
True.
Look, the government's position, and it's really important, I'm clear about this, is that it is a free vote. The government does not have a position of yes or no in this, but I have for many years supported this and indeed voted for it the last time because I believe in giving people as much power, say and control as possible over the things that matter to them most. And I believe the bill has the right safeguards to make sure that that can be done properly. Now, you will, I'm sure, want to get into the debate about that bill, but let me just say this thing. I think it is really important as a society we talk about what makes for a good death. Because
I know what she means. But she's not beating the allegations I just made, jokingly.
No, it's like the good death of people who otherwise wouldn't have done if they'd had welfare support from the state.
I tell you what, I do enjoy a good death. Yeah. Like...
Thank goodness, with medical advances, the sudden deaths from heart attacks and stroke are much less common than they were in the past. And many of us, in our own families, see people who take more time to die. And we really need to wake up to that question and face it about what makes a good death. And that will be different for different people. For some, it will be having that good quality palliative care in a hospice or at home. And others, I believe, would want that right to choose
and that is
assisted
a
dying.
vital conversation. But in the context of this week and the safeguards in this bill...
Yeah, it's true,
your
actually.
colleague, the
Yeah,
Health
that's a good point,
Secretary,
Zardos.
your colleague, the Justice...
A good death is in battle with Iran alongside the IDF.
Literally true. Also, was that person called Zardos?
Zardos.
Oh, nearly. Oh, I thought you were doing a Sean Connery reference. Nearly. For those who don't know, Zardos is the greatest film that ever existed. Just saying.
I thought I said Zapdos from it when I looked at it.
No, Zardos was an absolutely atrocious film that Sean Connery made just after leaving the James Bond role. Honestly, it's a fucking trip.
Who would preside over the legal framework, she's told her constituents that the proposed safeguards are not nearly enough. They are particularly weak, to use her phrase. How can you judge that the country is ready to do this if the minister who's in charge of the justice system says the safeguards aren't strong enough?
Well, you'll understand that as a government minister, I don't want to get into discussing all of the details about that, or, you know, Shabana and Wes have strong views.
This is so important. This is a profound
I understand
change.
that. The government's position is neutral, but let me say this. The bill's safeguards are that you have to be terminally ill with 6 months of life remaining, to have 2 independent doctors agree that you are of sound mind and that you haven't come under pressure, and a High Court judge. That's what's in the bill. People will debate that. I believe that those are the strong enough safeguards. Others will disagree.
But do you think
I mean,
that this is
to me, it sounds like strong enough safeguards.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really know, though, to be honest.
For the country, MPs have only had three weeks.
Let me just say,
I'm generally, I think, in favour of it, but again, I find it. I don't have the expertise to be particularly like strident on this one.
Well, exactly. Like, I just don't want us to end up in a Canada position where we're just killing the disabled for being a burden, Nazi style.
Then look, there's no way a government that talks about people as being a blight on the nation would ever do such a thing.
No, exactly. Yeah.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Plus, Kemi Badnoch said that the disabled had superpowers, so you know, it's fine.
I just want to ask you this question.
Yeah. No,
there are people on both sides of this debate who are not necessarily convinced that now is the time. They're not necessarily believing the conversation has taken place fully or widely enough. And the former Prime Minister Gordon Brown, who is against the change, we should say, but he's suggesting having some kind of more structured conversation, whether it might be a commission or citizens' assemblies, but so that as a country, politicians and the public could be really sure.
People are always going to disagree on this, Laura. They will always disagree on this. And the point is not...
Yeah, I'm sick of this, like, having to fucking mediate all the time. I'm sick of the technocracy having to decide everything. I'm sick of there being a quango for fucking everything. I'm sick of there being a report that has to be done for literally everything. Now we want to have people's assemblies for absolutely everything as well. Can we not just have a decision? And then you can vote for or against the decision at some point. Like, what the fuck? Why are we mixing up this weird, like, corporate version of direct democracy with the weird old school parliamentary representative democracy? It doesn't fucking work.
This is for everybody. You have a right to... I think you should have the right to choose. Do you want to do this or not? Do you want good palliative care? I want all of these options, because that's what giving people power, choice and control means. It's not making you do my decision or my choice. It's about putting that in place. I actually think, I know this is being often I understand it, reduced to a sort of debate about who thinks what within cabinet. There's something much bigger here, which is, as a country and a society, more of us will see death and have longer deaths, and we have to debate that. I think ultimately that is only a good thing, because death comes to us all.
But I'm not asking you about a cabinet.
Not you. You're literally a vampire.
True.
You have lived many
Lich
lifetimes.
Kendall.
Lich Kendall. Oh yes, we've got a new nickname.
But I'm asking you now whether perhaps the right thing would be to have a pause so that people can have more time to think about this, to be really, really
She
sure.
kind of is dressed a little bit like a kind of femme Dracula thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a touch of it there.
It's a profound change.
You will know that we have been debating this since the last time
So doesn't want to show the side of her neck, which is interesting.
Yeah, she's all Dwight York.
voted on it in 2015. So I've no doubt that even if we did have that, there would be strongly differing opinions. That, Laura, is life.
Okay, Les Kendall, Welfare Secretary, it's great to have you with us in the studio this morning, especially on such important subjects this morning. Well, if MPs back the measure on Friday, it would be one of the most profound changes in a long time in England and Wales. There is that draft law in the Scottish Parliament too. And the proposed law would allow people over 18 to have help to end their own lives, but with conditions. As Liz Kendall was telling us, they must have less than 6 months to live, they must be able to administer a fatal drug themselves, and they must have...
I think the thing that pushes me into supporting it is the fact that you actually have to be terminally ill to even be considered for this, right?
Yeah.
The single metric isn't you're depressed or you're poor or things are bad. No, you are literally going to die anyway. We're just speeding up the process because it's painful, and we've also got sign off from multiple different people. Like, this seems like probably why I would think it's fine.
It probably is fine, but again, you're sort of relying on a future government not tweaking those paradigms, the kind of the guardrails in place to, well, maybe you don't have to be terminally ill. Maybe just if you're quite ill. Or maybe maybe if you are depressed, you know. Useless eaters and all of that.
Have agreement from 2 doctors and a High Court judge that they've made their own decision. And if it goes ahead, well, the UK would in a way be
There must be some way of doing it, because this has happened in Switzerland, right? And it hasn't collapsed society in Switzerland. So, like, there must be a way of doing it, right? I'm not an expert though, so whatever.
Catching up with many other countries.
Regardless of whether they vote for it or vote against it, I won't be that bothered either way. Like, I can't get too emotionally invested in it because I don't know enough about it.
Yeah, likewise.
Including Belgium, which has some of the most liberal laws. It introduced euthanasia when it's administered by doctors back in 2002. And that's designed to help people living with unbearable suffering, to use their phrase, including those with mental illnesses.
Hold on a sec. Thank you, Calmac, for the £2. Baby Squid for the £5. And Steve Ford for the £2 says, please look into how do not resuscitates were used during COVID. That is true. That is scandalous, yeah.
And since 2014, it includes children in some cases. Now they're considering making it easier for people with dementia to end their own lives too. Frank van den Broeke is the Belgian health minister, and I asked him how the issue had changed Belgium.
Well, there was a lot of debate about the law when it was introduced.
Oh, that is the most Belgian name that's ever existed.
It is, isn't it?
Look at that. Frank van den Broeke. That is the name of a left-back who plays for Genk. They're not even start with me.
2002. But I think by now it's been very well accepted that euthanasia is something that is not an unconditional right, but there is a right to request euthanasia. Let's say 25 years ago, there was also a real divide maybe in along lines of religious belief versus people who do not hold their religious belief on dying and the right to die. But
I find it difficult to take religious people that seriously when they make these points, because those very same religious people are absolutely fine with, like, you know, genocides that may or may not be taking place right now. So your pro-life stance is very conditional, isn't it?
I think that's kind of changed very much.
What's also changed is the numbers of people. At the beginning, there were only a few hundred a year. Now it's more than 3,000. And since the law was brought in, it's also expanded, even including euthanasia for terminally ill children. Now, I think to a lot of people in this country, that might sound quite surprising. How can you...
Why? If they're terminally ill, what difference does it matter what age they are? It's not like they're going to be terminally ill for the next 60 fucking years. Like, if they're in agony and we can stop that agony, okay, maybe that's for the best. Like, it's not nice. None of this is nice. It's death we're talking about. That's the joke about, like, there's no such thing as a nice death. Fucking idiot, Kendall. Like, talk about it with some gravitas, for fuck's sake. There is a dignified death. There is, you know, a peaceful death. Or there is a screaming, agonising shithouse death. Maybe if we can avoid more of the latter of those, that would be a good thing. You know?
justify that?
But let me first say something on the numbers. Over the last 10 years, the numbers have been between 2,000 and 3,000. And indeed, in 2023, the registered cases were 3,422 to be exact. And that's 3.1% of all deaths. So let's say 3% of deaths involve euthanasia. I don't think that is a very high number per se. It's only 3.1% of all deaths. When it's about minors, it's only about physical disorders, and the parents must agree, and it's extremely rare, I should say.
Much of the debate in this country right now is about the concept of a slippery slope. You would start off with very limited situations, but the law would expand over the years. Many people who are worried about that might look at what's happened in Belgium and think, actually, that's exactly what happened. You started off with very tight limits, and actually the law has expanded to include children, to include potentially now more people who suffer from dementia. Can you understand people's concerns when they look at what's happened?
I think it's a delicate issue. I think we should not tread lightly here. It's a very serious, delicate issue. But as a matter of fact, if you look into the actual trajectory of Belgian legislation, it's not been a slippery slope.
There are delicate arguments, though, as you said, and there have been controversies, and there were a pair of...
Mad Kendall was awful. Not as awful as Koensberg, but still awful.
Twins, Mark and Eddie Verbessem. Now, they chose to end their lives after...
That's right, said Fred.
It is right, said Fred, isn't it?
After being told they would eventually go blind because they feared losing their independence. Now, what message did that send to people about disabilities and the rights of people with disabilities to lead full lives?
Not at all. The judgment that was made was that for these two people, their prospects created an unbearable suffering. You are deaf, mute, you will go blind, you lose everything. And so it was seen as an unbearable suffering. Obviously, that's an assessment. But I think if you go through that case, it's not someone who... It were not people who were tired of life.
For our MPs who are voting on this in Parliament this week to change the law in England and Wales, it is a very difficult decision for many of them.
Yes,
As
I understand.
a fellow politician on the other side of the channel, what advice would you give to them? What should they have in their minds, having been through it in your country?
When I look at what's tabled in your parliament at this very moment, it's a very, very strict procedure. It's stricter than the Belgian procedure because it involves always a judge. In any case, It's also different because in the proposal that is tabled in your parliament, it's the patient, his or herself, who has to take these lethal doses. But I would say really both in the Netherlands and Belgium, it's not the case that you have a kind of a continuously changing legislation, continuously widening the possibilities and shifting, let's say, to nowhere. That's not the case.
Minister, thank you so much for speaking to us this morning. We're very grateful to you for your time.
Pleasure.
Well, the perspective from Belgium, a country that made a similar change some years ago now. You've been sharing also your deeply personal views on this subject. Liz, who's a retired GP and hospice doctor, complains that supporters suggest there's only two alternatives: a dignified and clean assisted death, or an undignified, painful, messy, natural one. Liz says this is simply untrue. Most natural deaths are quiet and dignified, especially where there's high quality palliative care.
Okay, but what about where there isn't high quality palliative care, like England and Wales, because you've defunded it, you cunts? And what about the ones that aren't nice? Like, they would be edge cases anyway. It's not like every fifth person that dies is going to be doing this.
And there's only so much palliative care can do. If you're in genuinely suffering in daily agony, right? Palliative care, like how there's only so much that can alleviate the kind of suffering that comes with terminal illness.
Yeah.
Terminal illness, sorry.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, Mary, who is 78, says if individuals feel strongly they do not want to cost the NHS, that is as valid as people deciding to join the army knowing they may be killed in war.
You are a profoundly damaged person, I fear. That is not remotely correct. I don't think that wanting to cost the NHS is remotely an acceptable reason. No. That's not acceptable, no.
Well, speaking of people dying for the NHS, what about Captain Tom? Do you see the Captain Tom story?
Yeah, well, I saw the corruption stuff with his daughter.
It's fucked up, isn't it?
It's absolutely mental, yeah. Although, I mean, I shouldn't undermine the seriousness of that point you're making there, but I did see this. And I did cackle. Where is it? This is one hell of a...
Is this what I think it is?
It might be. It might be. I mean, what's wrong? What's wrong, babe? You've hardly used your Captain Tom glory hole.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
That is.
Also, if you check this same account, there's so many Captain Tom memes, but my absolute favorite one that they posted was on the day that Yahya Sinwar was assassinated by Israel. He made an AI-generated video of Captain Tom declaring that he'd been appointed the new leader of Hamas, which was so fucking funny.
I'm currently watching some lovely Princess Di absolutely brilliant last-ditch defending. Look at that. Honestly, what a first touch.
It's quite a while back. If you look in the media tab, you should be able to find him.
If my dick has led me places I wouldn't go with a gun. Oh no. Oh god.
If you search the media tab, you should be able to find him.
Media. Okay, yeah, well, my bad. Which one am I looking for?
It'll be a video. It'll be quite. I mean, I don't know how far down it'll be because obviously it's been a month or so since Sinwar was assassinated.
I'm not gay, but I do like malt loaf. Is an amazing sentence.
Hog nuts. What?
I don't know. How far back am I going?
I have no idea. Where are we now? They seem to post quite frequently, to be fair.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's fucking horrible. The faces and the knees.
Knees, yeah.
Model aircraft flying is gay. Fair enough. No, that's... Oh, fuck knows.
Let me try and find it.
Is that it? No, I don't know. That's the Queen in Arabic dress. Nice. I don't even know what I'm looking for.
Oh, here, I found it.
Okay.
Pop in the DMs.
Jesus Christ, Sir Keir Shipman. I wasn't fucking prepared for that. Well, there was someone. Did you see someone do an edit of Keir Starmer and Liz Kendall as Myra Hindley and John, whatever his name was, the famous Moors murderers?
No, but that sounds very funny.
I mean, wowzer. He doesn't look bad with a beard, though. To be fair, gotta say, it doesn't look terrible. Oh, here we go. Oh, Jesus fucking. Okay, here we go.
And now for an important announcement from Sir Captain Tom.
Bismillah, brothers, with great urgency, I announce my position as the new leader of Hamas. We fought them on the beaches once, and will do it again. Inshallah, Allah grants me loyalty and protection in this great merciless fight. Alhamdulillah for a safe passage to all rubber dinghies crossing the Dover Channel, and I wish the greatest respect for our freedom fighting brothers in arms. Just stop oil. Mashallah, Sir Captain Tom.
And now for an important announcement.
Fucking Christ.
Oh my god.
Okay, I think I get to follow. Hello. Jesus, that's some spicy memes. Whew, wowzer.
Oh dear.
See, mine was just a cheeky little cock joke. You took it to a bad place.
Please put autonomy at the centre of the debate. And
Okay,
answers
hang on, I need a
by
second. I need to just flush that out of the system. This is a serious topic. I can't be laughing. Jesus fucking Christ. Right. Come on now. Serious face.
First past the post politicians is all very well, but on a matter as important as this, I believe the wishes of the whole population should be sought by a referendum. Well,
Oh, for fuck's sake. Can you stop doing referendums? Or referenda, whatever. Again, we're not a direct democracy. If you want to go to that system, make your case. But you can't mix it up. Look what happened with Brexit, you pricks. Anyway.
This is a huge question of morality, of ethics, and people are trying to keep the politics out of it. And you've all got your own experiences. Nadine, tell us your story and how it shaped your views.
Well, can I just say, first of all, about Liz's contribution, which she very passionately believes in people having the right to choose. But not everybody has a family, or who's next of kin is the family, or friends. For many...
Oh, here's Liz after she's had her... makeup removed after the interview. There you go. Boom. Love it. Thank you for that. Inshallah.
People, the next of kin is the state. And that number in this country is a large number of people, and that concerns me. But my own story is my husband was diagnosed with stage 4 bowel cancer and given 4 months to live. And the very first thing he wanted to do was contact Dignitas. In fact, we had an argument within hours of his diagnosis because he was Googling Dignitas and absolutely angrily determined. Because in his mind, he said, I don't want to
And
have...
I interfered with his decision because I am a selfish prick. Okay, cool. Yeah, I can't wait to hear Piers Morgan's very well considered and thoughtful opinion on this. Seems like the kind of guy that can deal with this kind of delicate subject matter.
Quite.
Have a painful death. I don't want to... I've only got 4 months. I've got to sort this now. What happened was my daughters and I, we all of us for 4 months nursed him at home together with amazing support from the community nurses. He ended up on a morphine syringe driver, and before he passed, quietly, without any pain, he said, this has been the best 4 months of my life.
Okay, but most people who go through that kind of situation won't die peacefully in no pain, because bowel cancer is an extraordinarily painful condition, which can be managed to a degree with painkillers and palliative care and so on. But like, you can't use that as an example of, well, everyone's just going to die peacefully and nicely. And it's not the fact that we're very, very rich that we can afford these kinds of things. I'm sure a single parent in a council house would have exactly the same situation. Shut the fuck up, man.
Because we had such a wonderful time, and there was lots of laughter and lots of good times. And he completely changed his mind when he came to the point of dying about having ever wanted to have gone to, as he couldn't. You have to sign up for Dignitas a long time before, but he was absolutely determined. And if somebody had given him the option and those first days and said to him, yes, you can do this, I think he would have done it. It was.
How long do you think it would take in this situation? Like, I don't think 4 months is going to... I don't think he'd have been able to, would he? Do we know exactly how long this process will last under this legislation?
Yeah, I don't think it's been laid out yet, has it?
Only by the fact that he realised by a gentle persuasion and by a lot of love surrounding him that there is another way, and he went so peacefully that, you know, we are forever grateful that he changed his mind on that.
Jonathan, now your brother had a very different situation, and what's your family's experience?
My brother suffered from motor neuron disease. He had been a very active, very successful sculptor, very strong. And he died earlier this year. And he had not made up his mind whether he would, if he had the right, have exercised the right to an assisted death. He strongly believed, and had believed for a long time, that you should have that right. For myself, I've believed it. I've been involved at the margins and interested for some 30 years. And what I would like to address, if I may, two things.
I really do sympathise and empathise with the story here, but can we ban people from the telly who say years?
Yeah.
The word is year.
Yeah, years. Or, another posh one I don't like, decades.
Decades?
Decades.
Yeah,
Why are you putting the stretch? Stop being weird, posh people, for fuck's sake. Also, like, again, it's another anecdote, which I sort of don't... No, it's not that I don't care, but I don't know these fucking people. What I don't want to have happen, regardless of what happens there, is if people are in genuine, like, they're trying to help out a dying relative, I don't want them to go to fucking prison. Like, that's the thing that's an injustice that cannot stand.
Slippery slope argument.
We could just move on to Kevin Hollinrake interview.
If you look
rather than
to
having to listen
Oregon,
to again people again. I'm sure this is very moving what these people are talking about. I'm sure that it is, but it's again, I literally can't form an opinion on this.
I do kind of want to hear at least the first few sentences of Piers Morgan's drivel, though. Can we at least watch that, because that sounds like prime slop.
Go for it.
No offence to this old geezer, but do one, lad.
Debate, and I think unusually perhaps for you, you're not that sure really.
I've been round the houses with it, which I think a lot of people may have done. And normally I feel very certain about almost everything. On this one, I've changed my mind quite a lot, and even listening to the two co-panelists here, I can absolutely understand both arguments. You know,
I've got nothing to say. Brilliant. Thanks. Yeah, let's get to Kevin Hollinrake.
The programme or in our
Doesn't sound like a real
newsletter
name, does
every
it?
Thursday.
It's not.
Now, as we've been discussing, when it comes to the vote on Friday, it's important to remember MPs won't split neatly down party lines. They'll be able to vote as they wish, a free vote. And inside each party, there isn't an established consensus either. The Prime Minister has tried to keep the Cabinet out of it without that much success, but individual
Yeah, I
politicians...
was about to say, with appallingly bad success.
Yeah. What's that? Keir Starmer can't fucking manage a piss up in a brewery.
Crazy.
If in the entirety of the Labour right in the cabinet are fighting amongst each other, briefing against each other, and not following party lines, or indeed following the instructions from the Politburo, well, I couldn't possibly imagine such a thing.
But thankfully, he hasn't been in charge of, the Crown Prosecution Service and now the government. Because if he were, that would be terrible. I'm sure all
things
kinds
might
of
be a
bad
shit
things-
show at some
Yeah,
point,
bad
or
things
have
would
been
happening.
one.
Yeah.
It would be really sad. It would be really bad if the Shadow Attorney General during the election period literally criticised the CPS when he was head of it.
been giving their views, as we heard from Liz Kendall earlier. Well, Kevin Hollingworth, the Shadow Housing Secretary for the Conservatives, and it's good to have you with us in the studio. Now, you have said that you do support assisted dying after you saw what your mother went through in the last moments of her life.
Like, I'd sound callous, but like, surely the place. I mean, I know no one's going to watch it in Parliament. I will, obviously, but like, do you have to get like this? There's no official party position, so essentially the only reason to ask this person is just to ask them individually, because there's no official policy, right?
I guess it's stuff to fill the airwaves.
So who gives a fuck to ask? He's a housing minister. Say, why didn't you build any houses, you cunt? What are your plans to build fucking houses? Because that's actually a thing that, you know, might be worthwhile to talk about with the housing or shadow housing minister.
Well, actually, tell her what he could talk about. I'll tell you what he could be talking about. He could be talking about how if people are enjoying the content that they're watching today, they can subscribe on Twitch for $4.99.
Oh, the skibbity riz of that segue.
Or for free with Twitch Prime by linking your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. Get your free subscription every single month, courtesy of Amazon, which costs you nothing additional and gives us free money, courtesy of Bezos, and keeps us employed here on Twitch.tv. You can also drop bits to get text-to-speech, 100 for me, 200 for Kev. You can become a memberino on YouTube, which is 99p, which is cheaper than the can of Red Stripe. You can obviously super chat, or you can gift your memberships around to boost the stream and the algorithm and to spread the love.
Honestly, no justice. MT Top G.
MT Top G. I think yeah, exactly. And that's what the MTG stands for. It stands for motherfucking Top G.
True.
That will become before MPs this week is the right one.
Yes, I do. And I actually voted for assisted dying back in 2015, before my mum passed away. I thought it was the right thing that people have their choice. And this isn't the state having that choice, it's individuals. And I'm going to say people already have that choice because many people take their own lives.
Well, indeed they do. But let's not pretend it isn't also the state that gives the final say-so for this. Because, of course, it is. Now, it's not in the gift, or shouldn't be in the gift of the state to, like, kill people. Or to murder people, I suppose. But if the person applies for that and goes through the same processes, then... But, like, let's not pretend the state isn't involved here. Like, this is entirely just a medical thing, because it isn't really. Like, I have a lot of sympathy for the position. Like I say, I hope the bill passes, actually. But let's be honest about what this is.
Of course, about 600 people a year who are terminally ill. And when I think about the future and think about my own children, I wouldn't want my children to have to say Dad committed suicide. You know, I would want them for me.
Look, I don't want to be too rude, Mr. Hollingworth, but I kind of do want your children to think that. Just saying.
To have that choice, and them to be comfortable with that choice, but I think these are the right checks and balances. There's 2 doctors plus the High Courts. The provisions are similar to other jurisdictions, such as Oregon, as Jonathan was saying, that have not gone down the slippery slope as some people worried about it. I'm worried about that too, but I think the checks and balances are there.
But is it realistic to think that the safeguards are enough when the woman who's in charge of the justice system, the Justice Secretary, says that they're particularly weak?
Well, that's her view, and
but she's the Justice Secretary. It's not just
there are many lawyers
person.
in the two lawyers in a discussion, and they rarely agree. So there are lots of lawyers who also know the justice system are comfortable with these provisions. I think it's important that everybody has their view, whatever their role is, and whether it's your Health Secretary or Justice Secretary. But that's just a view of a member of Parliament. I think
it is a bit weird that both the Justice Secretary and the Health Secretary have both come out against this verbally.
I mean,
okay, no sanction at all from Downing Street whatsoever.
I think I get it with the Justice Secretary. She's of course a legal. She studied law, right? She's a legal expert, so you know she's in a position to criticize this. However, unfortunately, we have a Health Secretary who knows literally fuck all about anything.
Yeah.
So why the hell he's opening his stupid bloody gob?
Did we see? And I'm not sure this will go anywhere, but I'm still slightly horny about it. Did you see that the person who lost to Mr. Streeting has lodged a formal complaint with the Elections Commission?
Yeah, it smells like giant nuns of coke to me. I'm sorry. I wish it weren't.
It does. But even if it just makes him look shit, Even if it just drags his name through the mud slightly, I'm okay with that. Fuck him. 500 votes. Jesus Christ. Genuine question, Kev. Is the left okay with legalising drugs where there is a choice of dying from an OD? Surely we should be okay with people having the choice to die when they want to if it's terminally ill. Well, firstly, I'm not sure everyone on the left is okay with legalising drugs. I think there's definitely a debate to be had there, depending on what brand of leftism you sort of subscribe to. And yeah, of course there's a chance of ODing. There's a chance of being knocked down in the street.
The difference, of course, though, is that with somebody ODing of their own volition on drugs, right? That's a specific choice that they've made. But the legalization of assisted dying involves a third party. It involves essentially legal protections for medical professionals who are there to assist people in killing themselves, which at the moment you'd go to jail for murder for, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm generally, like I say, I'm in favour, I think, of the bill passing, and I'm in favour, certainly in let's say, a theoretical, philosophical sense. I definitely want there to be protections for people who want to do the ultimate kindness to a human being, which is to, a person they don't want to die, a person they've loved and cherished being around for many decades, but they see them in pain and they want to stop that pain. That's a beautiful, beautiful sacrifice they themselves are making. And I don't want those people to go to fucking jail. That's, like I say, an injustice that I couldn't stand. So I'm generally in favour of it, but I'm not so strident about it because I kind of get some of where the other side are coming from, and there are genuine concerns about safeguarding.
I agree.
I don't know that you can ever truly get around completely those. They're always going to be there. It's a matter of sort of eternal vigilance once you allow it. But yeah, it's an issue. Also, yeah, there's a difference between legalising and decriminalising of drugs. Exactly. There's lots of factors involved there.
I think it's very important we all listen to those views, and I listen very carefully to all the three views just expressed on your panel. But I still have the same mind. I think I would like that choice. I want other people to have that choice. And I don't think it's the right for the state to prevent them having that choice.
Do you feel, though, that actually it is the settled will of the country? You know, MPs have only had a couple of weeks to debate it. They're suggesting...
Also, the one thing I definitely don't want to happen, and I'm sure this will, and I will update people when the debate happens this week, I think some of the Tories are going to come at this from like a culture war angle and describe this as like woke or something. And I'd hate for the bill to be scuppered by like 20 Tories grandstanding.
Yeah, you can't kill yourself anymore because of woke.
Yeah. Mad.
Suggestions that there could be a commission or citizens' assemblies or something like that, in order that everybody in the country, everybody watching, everybody listening, really feels that this is an issue that's been properly considered. Do you feel it has been?
I think it has. We've been debating this for, say, 2015 and listened to all the debates that day and many debates since we've been involved in Parliament. So I think there has been a good discussion on this, a good debate on this. It's important that debate continues on Friday when we discuss it. But if you ask the public, if people express a view, about 80% of the public say they would like this choice. And I don't want to deprive them of that choice.
We've heard, though, from Belgium today, where it has been expanded to include a small number of children in some circumstances, people with mental illness, and they're looking at expanding the numbers of dementia patients who could do this. Isn't the concern about a slippery slope when you look at an example like that and see how it's expanded? Well,
Belgium had different rules to start with. They looked at this unbearable suffering, which isn't what's been proposed here. This is about people with terminal illness. And this is very similar.
Right, but again, I don't want to use the slippery slope argument because I don't think it needs to go down that route. But the idea that because it's being set now, I mean, it's not like with it, say in America where you've got like a higher threshold to change part of the Constitution, for instance, which would be an extra safeguard in place because you need obviously the Congress and the President and then 2/3 of the states to introduce some new addition to this thing. Whereas in the UK, a terrible, awful Farage government could come along and slightly tweak a bill.
Thing is, if the bill, if the tweaks that are theoretically would be potentially happening from a weirdo reform government were genuinely something that most people agreed were horrible, but they wanted to do it anyway, we do at least have the stopgap of the Lords, because if they actually wanted to make an explicit change and then to be able to use the Parliament Act to get it through, it would have to be in the manifesto, right? In which case it would, then it would have the diplomatic support of the public.
Perhaps.
Similar to other jurisdictions, including Oregon, who was said before, but all those jurisdictions have used this only for terminal illness, have not expanded those categories. So I'm comfortable that Parliament will make sure we make the right...
Have Oregon allowed you to legally shit yourself to death? That's an Oregon Trail joke where people die of dysentery. You're very welcome.
I didn't know that.
It's a video game.
Right.
Although it was based on a real thing, but, you know.
Right decisions on this, and then we will keep those decisions under review. I think in the legislation, I think after 5 years we review the provisions and see how it's working. But I think that the right checks and balances are there in this legislation.
Okay, well, it'll be interesting to see what happens on Friday. And if it passes on Friday, that's not a sudden change. That's just the beginning of a long legal process to actually put it into law. Let's talk about welfare then. Now, the numbers went sky high on the Conservatives' watch. Are you going to back Labour's plans to try and get the numbers down?
Sky high? They cut the number of people, welfare recipients in the welfare bill enormously. As they did with fucking every government piece of spending. What you talk? Well, apart from the military. What are you talking about? The framing of this, like austerity just didn't happen. So we need to do a round of austerity, because austerity didn't even happen the first time.
Yeah, if the plans are right. I haven't seen them in detail yet, but yeah, there's no doubt that this phenomenon has grown rapidly, particularly since the pandemic. We are seeing
Really,
a number
has
of
it?
people leaving.
Wow, I can't believe higher levels of people being off work due to sickness happened since the pandemic. That's crazy.
That is cray-cray.
Leaving the place of work because of mental illness, a huge rise. So, and that's a huge cost for the taxpayer, of course. So we had plans in place, I think you referred to them earlier in your interview with Liz Kendall, that would have reduced that number by 400,000, saving the taxpayer an awful lot of money. It's not just about saving money, it's also about getting people into work.
To be fair, yeah, they are voting for this on Black Friday, but that's only because, like in America, you call it Black Friday. That's not really a thing here. Like some stores have tried to make it a thing, but no one calls it Black Friday.
Yeah, no,
You know,
we don't.
It's like wankers who try and take Halloween too seriously. You miss me with that Yank shit. Although I admit the weirdness of using Yank terminology to dismiss it. But,
Most of us feel our mental health is better when we're at work. So, but there are incentives in the system
And that,
to
right?
leave the place of work.
That is only a sentence you ever hear from someone who has a job where they don't have to do any fucking work.
Yep.
Where all you do is sit in a fucking Starbucks typing up on your MacBook.
Or well, for him, it's literally just like, well, I don't even know what does a shadow cabinet even do? They get their helper monkeys to go to write up fucking papers and stuff like it, and then occasionally they have to ask questions in Parliament to their shadow. Well, that's it. He's got the life of fucking Riley, and he's being paid a fortune for it.
But my mental health is better when I'm at work. Well, yeah, exactly. Because as I pointed out before, you're not pissing in bottles as an Amazon delivery driver. Like, yeah, of course you feel better when you're at work because your job is easy.
And you feel better when you're at work because, much like most Tory MPs, you're coked off your tits. So yeah, you're absolutely
in the video game
fucking
Minecraft.
buzzing.
To go on cash benefits, and that's one of the things I've been looking for in these changes Labour are going to make. Are they going to make that difficult decision to reduce cash benefits, because that currently incentivises people to leave the place of work?
So after the end of 14 years in charge,
they're incentivising them to be ill. No, they're off sick. They're signed off sick. They have doctor's notes signing them off sick. The incentives are irrelevant. If you're sick, you're sick. That's how fucking illness works.
The disgusting meanness of conservatism hasn't changed in like 200 years.
Nope.
The undeserving poor rhetoric of the fucking Dickensian era just never really went away.
Exactly. And the thing as well is that he goes, oh, well, we need to try and get these 400,000 people off of benefits and get them into work. At least Liz Kendall, right? The demonic Liz Kendall, Lich Kendall herself, right? At least Lich Kendall, in her interview, said, well, we have these plans for training courses, which sound bollocks to me, but at least they pretended that there was some kind of route, that it wasn't just stick, there was potentially some carrot. And yet he's just going, nah, just take them off benefits and they'll get jobs. I think lots of them might just end up dying, I think, just like they did when you were in government from 2010 to 2016.
Well, that's the plan, yeah. Get the bill down by just having them dead. Don't need to pay benefits to dead people.
Literally. Well, how about raise VAT and kill all the poor?
Literally.
You made it easier for people sometimes to take the cash and stay at home than go out to work.
But certainly, we didn't make it easier. What happened was that the pandemic, there's a new phenomenon as a result of the pandemic. That's the big rise we saw. About 900,000 people added to the number of people on long-term sickness.
Yes.
About 40% of them.
Wow, hang on a minute.
Mental health.
The phenomenon of people being long-term sick after a pandemic. That's not a phenomenon. That's just called being ill because of the pandemic.
No, but we're pretending that COVID doesn't exist anymore, so they can all just go back to work, even though some of them literally can't walk up fucking stairs. Brilliant.
Health. That we were dealing with that. The provisions we brought forward on the work capability assessment was a starting point of that, and that will prove effective, as you referred to earlier. But there's more we should do. I welcome the fact Labour are looking at this. I want to make sure they do the right things rather than just talk a good game. It's the actions that count.
But what do you think actually went wrong? Do you think that there are people out there who's essentially taking the taxpayer for a ride, or did something sort of fundamental break in the country during the pandemic when people got used to being at home? Like, what do you think happened?
Well, I say, you show me the incentive, I'll show you the outcome. At times, of course, people are going to choose a route not to work if you can provide other kind of benefits where they're not going to be any worse off. That was probably the wrong thing in terms of mental.
I'm sorry. Again, you can't just incentivize people to be able to get a sick note from the doctor, from a medical professional. Again, what you're trying to say here is that somehow these people have duped doctors into getting them signed off as not fit to work because they're too sick. They're long-term sick, which you need a doctor's note for. And they've only done that because of slight changes in the welfare payments. And if anything, welfare payments are now less generous than they were in 2010. And you can't correlate the generousness of the welfare state and people not wanting to go to work, because we have a much worse welfare state than, say, Denmark as a country. And yet Denmark's labour force participation rate is 10 points higher than ours. It's ridiculous.
True.
Mental health. So I'm not saying everybody with mental health can work, not at all. But some people can. And if you can work, you should work. That's the principle. So
okay,
it was a phenomenon.
So you say, well, there are some of them that probably could be able to work, right? Now, first of all, I would dispute that claim prima facie. But even if it is true, are you saying that it's 400,000 people signed off as too sick to work with disability, for example? You're saying 400,000 people are signed off when they shouldn't be? You're saying that the doctors have got it wrong 400,000 times? What the hell are you saying?
Quite.
Caused largely by the pandemic. We're dealing with that. We were dealing with it already. There's more we need to do. It's really important Labour do deal with it.
Well, we should point out also the changes to those 400,000 people are about disability benefits. That's the change that you had outlined that Labour is going to continue with in some form or another.
But there are personal independence payments for people with mental health. That's the key thing here. So in many ways, you can leave the place of work and not be any worse off. That can't be the right thing if you can work.
Okay, well, Kevin Hongreat, we must leave it there, but do come back and we'll talk about your...
The disabled people are the problem. Like, we're not going to make any changes other than just screwing over disabled people. Like, why do these people... Again, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. When they changed the taxes on employer national insurance, they got a millionaire chip shop owner on to rant about how it was going to cost her slightly more out of her profits, getting mad at Nessel Kaliskin, the Labour MP, right? They got an individual representative from the bourgeois of the country about how their business model has been wrecked by very slightly higher national insurance contributions for the employer. When it comes to farmers, we have endless debates from farmers who are going to be inheriting slightly fewer millions of pounds worth of assets, literal, actual multiple millions. Again, more than 5 million if once you account for agricultural property relief and business property relief that they're going to get discounted on. That's how much they'd have to be having inherited in assets to pay literally any tax. Yet both the Labour Party and the Conservative Party for 14 years outside of the Jeremy Corbyn period have all agreed that you can just tie disabled people up in bin bags and throw them in the canal as political policy. And not once have these people ever thought, let's maybe get a representative from the disabled people to go on and talk about the lives that they have to lead whilst our government socially murders them. It's pathetic.
Yeah, because again, that's not who they serve, is it?
True.
Also, so they're gonna. The next thing is with the French guy, which I can't be bothered with. So they're just not gonna. They're not gonna talk at all about. And notice you see a pattern here. On Question Time, they didn't talk about Netanyahu and Gallant getting arrest warrants. They barely talked about it on the BBC News, and now on the flagship Sunday talk show, they're not talking about it either. So literally, the joke I did that they don't need to lie about it if they just ignore it is literally the thing they're doing.
Yep.
Amazing.
Your brief of housing, a huge subject of interest to our viewers, so come back and we'll talk to you about that another time. Thanks very much indeed for being with us today. Now then, a busy news week with Donald Trump on his way back to the White House and the winter coming. In the words of one government source, it is crunch time for the conflict in Ukraine.
Do we? Well, I mean, we care about the Ukraine conflict. Do we care about the French twat talking about it?
I don't really care about the French twat talking about it, or what Mad Nads and Piers Morgan have to say about it, to be honest.
No. I really don't.
No.
So we can, well, we can probably just leave it there, unless you've got anything else.
No, not really. We did the bit about the petition. There's only other thing I really wanted to talk about today.
And we covered the big news of the Lib Dems being weird and shit.
It's true. Ed Davies' forays into TikTok is the biggest news story of the week, which makes you wonder why it was never covered by Laura Koonsberg's show, to be honest.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, true. I mean, I'd have been annoyed if they'd covered Netanyahu and not covered that. So the fact that they covered neither of them, Anyway.
Quite so.
What have you got coming up next week, I guess?
Just usual streaming, usually evenings, Monday, Tuesday, daytime Wednesday, question time Thursday.
Fair enough. Sounds
what
like
about you?
Christy
tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm on with Christy tomorrow. We're going to be doing a sort of political, but sort of not political thing about the 4Bs movement thing.
Oh yeah.
Which looks a bit.
Which is it's imported from South Korea, just apparently less turfy in America.
Yeah, but still looks a bit sussy poo. Fast, mate. Who shall we raid into?
I think we should raid into Becky Sphere, who is she does climate content, which I think is particularly relevant.
I don't even know who that is. I don't follow that person.
Yeah, she raided into me one time, and I was like, "You seem nice and cool, and with you talk about important things like the climate." So it's Becky with an I, Sphere, all one word.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I'm down with that. Okie doke.
Everyone go and follow KF Logan 1875 on Twitch and Ploppy111 over on YouTube.
Everyone go and follow No Justice MTG on all of the platforms, otherwise I will rain down hellfire upon you.
Also, by the way, I'm going to raid into Riverboat Jack over on YouTube as well.
Fair dues. Check back in with us tomorrow.
And of course, Free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
And also Packwatch RIP Bozo in absentia. Soon.
Yeah, soon. Yeah. Bye.
Bye. See you later.